Here we go. Chapter 20. I did a quick double take. This was like some sort of strange miracle or an optical illusion or a hallucination or a magic trick. The way Augie pulled back the cover to reveal the snake, it lay there unmoving. Aren't you going to grab it? Augie demanded. Yeah, of course. I went to reach for it and then I stopped. No, I'm not, I said, thinking it through a little more. Hand me the burlap sap. It's there, I said, gesturing in the general direction of the pile on the floor. I didn't want to take my eyes off the snake, even for a second, for fear it would somehow disappear, the reverse of Augie's magic trick. I could hear Augie shuffling things around as he rummaged through the pile. Out of the very corner of my eye, I could see him. Here it is, he announced. He passed it over to me. I took the bag and quickly started to roll the lip of it down. What do you want me to do? Augie asked. Nothing, I said. Nothing? I nodded. I'll take care of it. There was no time to be timid or tentative or scared. I leaped on the bed and in one motion scooped the sleeping ball of snake up into my hands and into the bag before it could even react. I unrolled the bag and sealed the top with my hands, trapping the snake inside. It started to move around. Obviously, it was awake and not happy about leaving its nice warm bed. My nice warm bed. That was amazing, Augie said. I bet the snake guy at Reptile World couldn't do it that good. It was pretty good, I admitted, holding the bag tightly. It was like I hadn't had the time to worry. But what was really amazing, I continued, was you finding the snake. That was really something. How did you know to look there? I told you I was thinking like a snake, Augie explained. You said they liked hot places, and then I remembered you telling me about how rattlesnakes sometimes climb into people's sleeping bags at night when it gets cold, and I figured a snake is a snake, and voila! That was something, I said again. Augie smiled and bowed from the waist. Did you expect less? I started laughing. It wasn't just what he'd said, but how incredibly relieved I felt. I turned and suddenly caught sight of the clock. It was 25 minutes to 1. 25 minutes until the assembly began. We have to get going. Maybe we can still make it. Doubtful, Augie said. It normally takes 20 minutes when we move fast, and we're not lugging 50 pounds of snake along with us. We'll just have to try. Come on. I rushed out of my room, carrying the sack awkwardly, lumbering down the stairs, trying hard not to bang the bag against anything. Can you grab my backpack as well as yours? I yelled. Just leave it here. Our assignment on friendship is in there, and it's due today. Augie slung his pack onto his back and grabbed mine and put it over one shoulder. I hurried out the door and I followed, clicking the lock on and then slamming the door closed behind me. I took a step across the porch and then stopped, turned around quickly and jiggled the lock just to make sure. I'd already had enough problems today with something getting out when it should have stayed in. To risk somebody getting in who should be staying out? It's locked. It's always locked, Augie yelled from the sidewalk. Hurry up. I jumped down the stairs and stumbled up the walk. It was going to be hard to move with any speed at all. There had to be a better way to carry the boa. I threw the sack over my shoulder. If it worked for Santa Claus, it could work for me. Of course, Santa usually had toys inside, not a snake. A snake that was writhing around. I could feel it against my back. I moved as quickly as I could, trying to match the pace Augie was setting. I struggled along the whole first block. The bag was getting heavier and heavier, and I could feel my breath becoming more labored. Do you think you can carry it for a while? I panted. If I have to, Augie offered reluctantly. You do if we're going to have any chance of getting there even just a little late. I put down the bag and he handed me the 2 backpacks. They didn't seem that much lighter than the snake. Augie took the bag in both hands and held it in front of him, well away from his body. There was no way we'd be traveling very fast with him carrying it like that, but at least I'd get a rest. We started moving again. We made it down Silverthorn, passing Elisa's house. She must be going nuts waiting for us to arrive, wondering what we were doing. We turned onto St. Clair Avenue. What time is it? Augie asked. I looked at my watch. Almost 5 minutes to 1. We still might make it. Can you take the bag again? Sure. We exchanged the backpacks for the snake. I slung the snake back over my shoulder. Let's cross here, Augie said, taking me by the arm and aiming me across the busy street as a streetcar rumbled by in the opposite direction. There was a gap in the traffic and we scurried halfway across, stopping at the yellow line. A couple of cars and a big truck rumbled past before we could cross the rest of the way. We're going to have to take the shortcut, Augie said. We have to go through the alley and cut in the back way. The alley? We can't go into the alley. Let's just take the long way around and there isn't time for that. But if we won't run into anybody. It's after lunch. All the high school kids are back at their school. And even if we do, nothing will happen. Come on, it's not like they can take money off us that we don't have, Augie said as he turned down the alley. I hesitated for just a second before following him. He was right. We didn't have much time. And this would save us at least 4 or 5 minutes. Minutes we needed. Right now, all the kids in the whole school are being shepherded into the auditorium, Augie said. And every single person is waiting for us. In just a few minutes, we'll be backstage, just hiding behind the curtain. And then Mr. Scully will call our names and we'll walk across the stage and every eye in the whole place will be on us. And we hand Mr. Johnson the snake. Are you nervous? I am now, I admitted. Actually, I'd been so caught up in finding the snake and getting here for the assembly that I hadn't had time to be worried. Now I had time. Don't worry, I'll speak. All you have to do is hold the snake and... And what? I asked. We have company, Augie said, looking over his shoulder. I glanced behind us. 3 teenagers had suddenly materialized. Probably they'd stepped out from behind one of the garages that lined the alley. In the 2 seconds before I turned back around, I could see that they not only outnumbered us, but also were older, at least by a few years, and bigger. Not to mention a lot tougher looking than the 2 of us. What do? I whispered. We keep walking. Maybe just a little faster. We can outrun them if we have to. Augie was right. We were 2 of the fastest people in the whole school, but carrying a sack full of snake? I don't know how fast I can run with the snake, I said. Look, they probably aren't going to bother us any. Augie stopped as he saw what I'd just seen. 2 more teenagers. One of them, Jimmy Saunders, stepped out from some hidden space just up ahead of us. We were trapped. What do? I asked. I felt panicked. Nothing, Augie said under his breath. We keep walking. Maybe they don't even know each other. Maybe they'll leave us alone. Maybe... Look what we got here, Jimmy called out. 2 kids trespassing in our alley is what I think we have, a second kid answered. And look, they have on the same pants, Jimmy said. They look sort of like identical dorks, he snickered, and the rest joined in. Augie and I stopped as they continued to come toward us. I'm going to try to talk my way out of this, Augie said quietly to me. But if I can't talk us out, then you run when I give you the signal. What's the signal? I whispered. I'm going to punch Jimmy in the face and jump on the second one blocking your way. I gave him a stunned look. He couldn't be serious. Jimmy and his friend stopped just a few feet in front of us. I could hear the other 3 just behind us. I took a quick look over my shoulder. Either of you 2 have any cigarettes? One of them asked. No. Sorry, we don't smoke, I stuttered. But if we did, we'd give them to you, Augie added. Isn't that nice of them? One of the others joked. Willing to give us things. Maybe you got some money you'd like to give us so we can buy our own cigarettes. We don't have any money on us, Augie said. That's too bad, because this here is private property. You can't just go walking on somebody's private property without paying to pass. We could bring you money tomorrow, Augie offered. Not interested in what you can bring tomorrow. What you got today, one of the kids behind us said. Books, papers, our school stuff, Augie said. What's in the sack, one of them asked. Nothing, I snapped. Looks like a pretty big nothing. Let me have a look, Jimmy said as he reached forward to take the bag. No, you can't see it, I shouted as I pulled it away and staggered a few feet to the side. Jimmy looked shocked that I had done what I did. He wasn't used to people not doing what he wanted. Don't give us a hard time, kid, he threatened, and 2 of the others closed in on me. I backed into one of the garages. I thought about the smashed cages, the dead turtles, about the expression on Mr. Johnston's face when he told us Bogart was dead. Nobody, not even Jimmy, was going to hurt another snake. You can't have it. I don't see who's going to stop us from taking it, he said, as he tried to grab the bag out of my hands. I hung on, not letting him take it, refusing to let go. It's for Mr. Johnston. Jimmy released his grip on the bag. Mr. Johnston? The science teacher at Osler? Yeah. You guys remember Mr. Johnston, don't you? Jimmy said to the other kids. Of course, one of them said. Best teacher I ever had, another replied. Me too, Jimmy said, nodding. He always treated me good. So what do you got in the bag for Mr. Johnston? It's a snake. The new snake? Jimmy asked. Yeah, it is. But how did you know? I said. We all heard about what happened to Bogart and that some kids were collecting money to buy him a new snake. Are you the guys? Yeah, me and Augie, I said. We're giving it to him today in an assembly that's supposed to take place right now. That's the only reason we cut through the alley. We didn't mean to trespass. We'll never do it again, honest. What time's the assembly? Jimmy asked. It's supposed to start at 1, I said. That's in like 2 minutes. You better get going. We can go? Augie asked. Of course you can go. What do you think we're going to do, kill you? No, it's just, get going, hurry. They moved out of the way to let us pass. We stumbled down the alley. Hey, I turned back around. Say hello to Mr. Johnston from Jimmy Saunders and tell him he was the best teacher I ever had in my life. Sure, of course, Augie called back. And if you 2 ever want to take the alley again and anybody bothers you, you just tell them you're friends with Jimmy. Understand? Yeah, thanks, Augie yelled back. Now hurry up or you're going to be late.